What happens when the European Union changes a significant regulation overnight and a manufacturer pulls a deadline forward by months? How do you redesign a critical component, retool production, and deliver at scale without missing a beat? Hi, I'm Brianna, host of Grayhill's Tech Talks, and today we're taking you behind the scenes of how Grayhill responded to a sudden change in the global RoHS standards, removing cadmium from a critical switch used in a luxury automotive steering wheel. From accelerated timelines to complex engineering changes, this is a story about how teams align, adapt, and execute under pressure. Let's hear from our subject matter experts to see how Grayhill turned a time-sensitive challenge into a successful delivery.
Let's break down the timeline, because that's where the real challenge was. We met on December the 6th, 2023. From that point, the expectations were clear and extremely aggressive.
A change took place where cadmium had to come out of these switches, and it had to happen quickly. So we got called to a meeting at a high-end European vehicle company to their headquarters. We walked into a boardroom with 14 executives anxiously waiting to talk to us, with whiteboards and schedules and computers open because they were bumping up against production limitations if we couldn't get the switches fixed, reproduced, and shipped to them in a certain time period.
The plan required first parts off a new tool by mid-January, initial sample units by mid-February, and a fully qualified production switch by mid-March. That's less than 3 months to go from design change to validated production.
Coming out of the meeting, we communicated this sense of urgency to the engineering team first, because they had to start the design process. When we got back here, we daily managed it. We got the right people together on a regular basis. We reviewed the goals. We reviewed the timing that this company needed for us to produce these switches and get them shipped. The engineering team went to work. We were also keeping the customer informed on a weekly basis with a Friday call.
At the same time, production demand didn't stop. The customer was consuming approximately 60 to 70 switches per day in their steering wheel assemblies, so we had to support both ongoing production and the transition to a new compliant design. The volume requirements reflected that. The initial request was made for 500 switches early in the process, followed by 500 switches per week to sustain production. It also supported rework of existing steering wheels that had already been produced but not yet installed into vehicles.
It's a very complicated switch, and reproducing something like this isn't something you can do in a short period of time.
So every part of the process had to move faster. Tooling, testing, assembly, production ramp.
The compressed timeline just meant that we had to meet more often with more people and be inclusive with all of the teams from design, engineering, planning, production, shipping, to the point where we were getting switches out the door to the customer. So a lot of people were involved, management was aware of it, and at Grayhill, when you get the engineering team and the planning team and the production team all together to solve a complex, difficult problem, they produce, they deliver.
Even production timelines were challenged with the request to reduce cycle times wherever possible. Despite that, we executed across all fronts. We delivered parts on schedule, supported ongoing production, and met the required volumes throughout the transition. From December to March, we compressed a full development and production cycle into a tightly coordinated execution window, while maintaining quality, performance, and compliance.
Not only did we meet the requirements of the company, the feedback we get on this particular switch is that the drivers love it. So the quality's there, it's smooth. When they're operating, they don't have to look at it. They know what it's going to do. They know it's reliable, it's predictable, high levels of confidence in something so complicated, yet looks so simple to make, but it's not.
When sudden changes happen, you have to be able to adapt, and Grayhill did exactly that in an incredibly tight timeline. What you've seen today is more than just a design change. It's an example of how collaboration between engineers and manufacturers can solve real-world challenges. By moving quickly, evaluating carefully, and scaling efficiently, Grayhill was able to deliver not just on time, but beyond expectations. Be sure to follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube so you can catch our next episode of Tech Talks. And to learn more about Grayhill's capability and how we support your next design, visit grayhill.com and connect with our team today.